Welcome into the Alabama Football Report. I am Tom Downey. We'll break down some more on-the-field stuff, players who are going to impact the team or could potentially impact the team this year. But if you want some recruiting-focused videos as we get to kind of a lull portion before fall ball gets going again, show us by liking the video right now. The more likes we get, the more recruiting updates we can do here on the show for you. We begin today with the latest on a top transfer target for Alabama. That is Jalen Key, the UAB safety, nickel, hybrid, defensive back, we can call him there. He took a visit to Alabama unofficially previously, and now this week is making an official visit as he had a list of 6 that might be getting trimmed down. Key jumped into the portal after this past spring practice, or after spring, or I guess during spring for some teams, after a breakout season last year for UAB. He played very well after not playing that much in the past. He is going to be a final year senior, one more year of eligibility left, the COVID year, really helping him in terms of being able to take a step forward and do more things and show off his ability. This is not someone who ever would have been considered for Alabama a year ago, had it not been for the COVID year. But now that there is one, he might be transferring to the Crimson Tide. Here's what Jalen Key previously said about Alabama and his interest in the Crimson Tide. For me, it's the caliber of the program. They'll set you up for success on and off the field. It's just the caliber of Alabama and what it stands for. For me, it's pretty much preparing for the next level, which would be the NFL. It doesn't really get much better than Alabama. The pedigree of the coaches and Coach Saban, it can't get any bigger. Now, Key had these 6 teams initially as his finalists: Alabama, Florida State, North Carolina, Ohio State, Ole Miss, and Oregon. The buzz as of late is that Alabama, Ohio State, and Florida State might be the 3 contenders. I will make note, transfer, recruiting, we can do all the crystal balls we want. It is always a bit of a guessing game because these are kids at the end. Even for an older player like Jalen Key, predicting where they want to go next is always a bit of a guess. But that's been the buzz from the insiders at Bama, FSU, and Ohio State have been the top 3 there. What I'm curious to see is, would Jalen Key start for Alabama? I think in somewhere on your roster, Kool-Aid McKinstry, Malachi Moore, Terrion Arnold will start. Earl Lill's been getting some good buzz. I kind of want to see what Cale Downs can do. Could you try Malachi Moore at safety and put Jalen Key in the star role? That's a pretty important role in this Bama defense. That kind of nickel safety overhang defender role played to perfection last year by Brian Branch. Throwing a transfer in there might be asking a lot. So we'll keep you guys updated on a potential addition of Jalen Key over the course of the next couple of days. I'm sure he makes a decision soon. But do you want to add him? Y for yes, N for no. It is the pinned comments on today's video. If the ad break comes here on YouTube, take advantage of it. Head down there and let me know. We'll get to some quarterback conversation from ESPN. But first, Jimbo Fisher's back at it again at an event for Texas A&M. A fan said that he wants Jimbo to kick Bama's ass this year. Here's what Jimbo said in response. I'm with you on that. We should have had them beat a year ago. We will. I'm sleeping well right now. I promise you. Should you be sleeping well right now, Jimbo? Because let's be honest, you ain't had much success against Nick Saban. You did almost win last year, but your quarterback's bad. You did win in 2021. Then beyond that, you've had 3 straight blowouts. Nick Saban, Jimbo Fisher have faced off 6 years in a row, and Jimbo Fisher is 1-5. Saban owns Jimbo, like he owns pretty much all of his former assistant coaches outside of Kirby Smart right now is probably having some great success there. Saban owns Jimbo Fisher. Jimbo Fisher ain't won 10 games in the last 6 years. Got carried by Jameis Winston at Florida State and now is like talking a big game with no on-field success because he can get those players in recruiting NIL and then they get into off-field issues and then they just don't win because for all his recruiting success, Jimbo's still the quarterback whisperer. Said no great quarterback success at Texas A&M. Jimbo can talk a big game all he wants, but he hasn't had the success to back it up. So maybe he's trying to bait Nick Saban again, but Saban clearly has taken it to Jimbo Fisher in all of their success against each other. So let's have some fun. type in F Jimbo in the comments. I get he's trying to hype up his fan base, whatever. If I were Jimbo Fisher and I was coming off a bunch of bad years at A&M, I don't think I'd be sleeping that well. I get he has the big buyout, and maybe that the lack of urgency is causing some complacency there. I would not be sleeping that well if I were Jimbo Fisher. So show him some hate and type in F Jimbo in the comment section. We'll wrap up for what probably we won't discuss too much in the future, at least until fall ball gets going again. The quarterback battle for the Crimson Tide. ESPN once again explored it as they were looking at all the top quarterback battles, where things enter spring practice. There's a lot I agree with here from ESPN's Chris Lowe. They called Tyler Buchner, the transfer from Notre Dame, the favorite to start. And I think that makes sense. The first line was, it's difficult to believe Buchner would come to Alabama to be a backup. And yeah, he could have backed up Sam Hartman Notre Dame, waited a year and taken over the job. He wants to play now. Here's what Chris Lowe of ESPN wrote. The fact that Alabama brought in Buchner from Notre Dame less than a week after the A-Day spring game tells you the Crimson Tide weren't content with what they saw from their quarterbacks during spring practice. Now, that doesn't mean they're going to give up on Milroe or Simpson. It just means they want another option as they point towards the start of preseason practice in August. That's a long way away. I know Buchner will spend a lot of time trying to learn that playbook, which is not the same from what it was at Notre Dame based on what Nick Saban said. But it's a three-man race now. Apologies to the other scholarship quarterbacks, Dylan Lonergan and Eli Holstein. B for Buchner, M for Milroe, S for Simpson, who ends up winning the starting quarterback job for the Crimson Tide. Go ahead and sound off in the comment section right now. Who do you want to start? I'm going to clarify. Who do you want to start at QB for Bama? So no wrong answer. It's just your opinion. B, M, or S in the comment section. Let's look a bit more in depth on each of these guys here, right? Jalen Milroe, or at least look at the two main contenders, I think, for this job. Milroe has the more experience compared to Ty Simpson, who was the other challenger before Tyler Buchner came in. Milroe's a great athlete. He can run the football. I will never forget, and maybe Bill O'Brien didn't think it would be publicized, but Bill O'Brien out there telling the CBS Southern reporter that Milroe can't throw, which was unbelievable, and maybe he didn't mean to say it like that or was misconstrued. Whatever, didn't look very good. He's a great athlete. He does need to work on the turnovers and the mistakes. I think the turnovers has been the big preaching point from Nick Saban. And then you got Tyler Buchner, who turned the ball over a lot at Notre Dame, more than what Milroe and Simpson have done, and not that Simpson's played very much. So I don't think Buchner is a franchise savior. I saw the report of Bama's looking for their next looking for their own Stetson Bennett. Okay, so you're looking for the bus driver. Okay, maybe one of those guys can be the bus driver. Maybe Ty Simpson long-term is a piece, and he's just not quite ready yet. Maybe would be the ideal outcome there. I don't have great confidence in this Alabama quarterback room right now. Hopefully, someone impresses at fall ball and takes a stranglehold on the job, because what you don't want to have is you get to the Texas game, and you're like, well, maybe it's a committee. Because Texas is probably going to be a little bit better this year. And they almost beat you last year. You had Bryce Young. You don't have Bryce Young now. Figuring out the quarterback spot is the number one most important thing between now and week one for Nick Saban, Tommy Rees, and the rest of the Crimson Tide.